Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, October 28th, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Craig Shaw, Bureau of Street Services.
Linda Bartlett, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Cheyenne Bedin, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment and no speaker cards under the Neighborhood Council commentary section. We also did not receive any speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, thank you. We'll close general public comment and the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 5th, 2016. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll approve those meeting minutes. A couple of administrative items that we will take care of quickly first. Agenda item number 14, the mayor has approved and authorized the board to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Los Angeles, the County of Los Angeles Flood Control District, the county itself, and the City of Culver City for the administration and cost sharing of implementing the Coordinated Integrated Monitoring Program for the Marina del Rey Watershed Management Area. It's being returned for signature. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 14 forthwith? By Commissioners Jacinto and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 13. The mayor has approved and authorized the board to execute a letter of agreement with Gamel Electric Incorporated to install a generator at the Central Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station. That's the Clark Station. Again, being returned for signature. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 13 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 12. The mayor has approved and authorized the board to execute a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Los Angeles County Flood Control District for the administration and cost sharing of implementing the Coordinated Integrated Monitoring Plan for the Santa Monica Bay Jurisdiction 7 Watershed Management Agreement. Again, being returned for signature. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 12 forthwith? By Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. And agenda item number 11, specifications are submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids, Council Districts 2 and 14. For the secondary sewer renewal program, Verdugo Road and Palmer Drive, the estimate is $1,542,497, and the bid receipt date is Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. Is there a second to my motion that we adopt agenda item number 11 forthwith? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. And our final administrative item, agenda item number 10, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is in Council District 4, 11, and 13 for collection system pumping plant generator replacements, Phase 3, with an estimate of $4,839,000 with a bid receipt date also of Wednesday, December 7th, 2016. And there's a request for a revision on item number 10 under project labor agreement section on page 3 of the specifications would be removed. Did I describe that accurately, Mr. Campos?
That is correct.
Okay, so then we would make a motion to adopt agenda item number 10 forthwith. Is there a second? By Commissioners Davis and Repenning. Any objection? All right, without objection, we will do so.
And that would be approved as amended?
As amended, yes.
Thank you.
So the motion was as amended, seconded as amended, and adopted as such. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 9, policy, creation of an ad hoc Blue Ribbon Business Advisory Committee of the Board of Public Works. Commissioners Davis and Repenning are recommending to the Board of Public Works to first establish an ad hoc Blue Ribbon Business Advisory Committee to review department contracting policies and practices. To A, identify opportunities that could expand the impact of the city's contracting policies and practices on our local communities, including but not limited to the increased use of small, women-owned, minority-owned, disadvantaged, and local business enterprises. B, explore options to create and promote good jobs by making it easy to do business in Los Angeles, easier to do business in Los Angeles, nurturing small businesses, reclaiming the city's economic heritage, and educating and retaining workforces across the city for tomorrow's construction and non-construction good jobs. And C, consider collaborative partnerships with residents, civic and business groups that can build a greater city by fostering civic participation in governance and in building a shared community. Secondly, appoint Commissioners Davis and Repenning as co-chairs of the Ad Hoc Business Advisory Committee. And finally, request the co-chairs to periodically report back on a plan or options available that the Board of Public Works may consider for approval or adoption. And Mr. Campos or Commissioner Repenning or Davis, however you would like to start. Commissioner Repenning?
Okay.
Commissioner Davis?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. It is an honor for me to support this creation of the Business Advisory Committee. It will create an opportunity for us to reflect the values of the mayor's priority outcomes that he has provided in terms of leadership and direction that we should go, as well as the core values of the Board of Public Works. When we look at the diversity that exists in the city of Los Angeles, we are a majority-minority city, and when we look at the market, where we, in some circumstances, don't have many minorities that are in some of the highly technical areas on one hand. On the other hand, we do have areas where, in fact, we do have a significant number of minorities, and particularly women, who have been underutilized and underrepresented. And while we have rules and regulations to achieve inclusion, we want to make sure that the policies we have, as it has stated in this motion, are designed in a way that it makes it easy for those who are here in Los Angeles and those who want to do business with Los Angeles to do it in a way that we have a mutual relationship of cooperating and making sure that we in the city of Los Angeles and in this Southern California area effectively use our power to influence the Southern California economy. We are the most, I think, potent operation in the Southern California economy in terms of the dollars that we put into this area. And again, we want to make sure that we reflect the leadership of the mayor, the core values of both the City Council and the Public Works Commission in creating policies, and particularly making sure that when we realize that a lot of our families in this city are headed by women, and that these issues are important because we want to make sure that there's equity in terms of those families that are led by women, that if they are working on a job and that they are doing the same kind of work, that they're getting the same kind of revenues and finances that they are entitled to. This is the kind of policies, these are the kind of policies that will help to reflect the values that we see. So I'm excited about working with this particular Business Advisory Committee, and I believe very strongly in working with my colleague, Commissioner Repenning, that we can make a difference in our recommendations to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Repenning.
I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to embarking on this process of really looking at our contracting. In the last 2 years, we've awarded more than 800 construction personal services and on-call construction contracts totaling more than $600 million. That's a lot of money that we're spending. And we're doing a lot in terms of projects, but for me it's really about looking at our spending in terms of the impact that we're having on the local economy, on small businesses, on businesses that are run by women and by minorities, and looking at how we can lift up the communities here in LA through our spending. We have a program in place, the Business Inclusion Program, that I think hasn't been tweaked. I was trying to get confirmation since 2011. It makes all the sense in the world. We have a new economy now. We have a new mayor. He's not so new anymore. But to me, it makes a lot of sense that we take this moment to really review our program and to look at what's working what's working for us, what's working for our contractors, and what's not working as well, and what adjustments we can make to achieve progress. To me, I think that in terms of the process we're talking about, we're looking at 4 meetings that we would hold as public meetings that would be advised so that members of the public can attend. Other commissioners we would welcome to have join us, in which we hear from the businesses that we work with. We hear from city staff. We hear from staff from other agencies, both in the city and outside the city, that have programs that may be different to ours, and where we really listen to different ways of doing things. And we hear from our stakeholder group, which is the businesses that we work with, on how to make it easier for us to work with, and how we can really work with them to achieve better outcomes when it comes to diversity in our contracting. So, I think that hopefully by March we'll be back at this board with a series of recommendations. And I don't have an agenda. I don't know what the outcome is going to look like. I think it's really an opportunity for us just to look at a bunch of different possibilities. I see some folks in the back who are partnering with us on from CH2M on a lot of our work that we do in engineering, in sanitation, as well as one of our new partners potentially on the franchise. And it's great to know that we know that we have a lot of businesses that we work with that understand our goals and want to try to meet them. So how do we make that possible? I think hopefully we will have a good outcome on this. Some changes that will improve the way that we all come together to do business. Thank you.
I wanted to conclude by saying that I think you're absolutely right. One of the outcomes has to be to put an emphasis on those exemplars, those prime contractors who have gotten it right, who've been able to achieve the kind of diversity that reflects the values of our leadership in the council and in the mayor's office and here at the board, and that if they can achieve it, others can. And CH2M Hill is an exemplar, but there are several others as well. So I hope, as a result of the work that Commissioner Repenning and I, the work that we do, we're able to develop a list of individuals that have performed effectively as CH2M Hill has. And I think that we do have several. And so I just would like to conclude to say how important I think that is.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. I would just say that, first of all, thank you to both of you, to Commissioners Repenning and Davis, for the work that went into working on the motion. Thank you to our executive office as well. I know just from our discussions that this is ripe, and we are ready to see what we can do going forward that is more or supplemental to what was done with the Business Inclusion Program, as Commissioner Repenning mentioned back in 2011. There are other things that may be available to us that we may discover through these meetings, including what's technology is as rapidly changing as it is. With our recent update to our business assistant virtual network with Bavin, there may be other technological assets that can be helpful here. Conversations with other departments, as Commissioner Repenning mentioned, including our proprietaries, might lend some results. Some discussions with people that are familiar with our work, that either work in a role inside the city, or maybe they don't work for the city, but they work inside City Hall a lot. So this is something that certainly we welcome wholeheartedly. I know it's a priority for the mayor's office, and we've struggled to get better numbers, just to put, to make it very plainly said, and to get better results, better metrics. these inclusion opportunities. And it's been more of a struggle than I thought it might be when we first started down this road some years ago. And so it's time to, I think, to turn up the volume a little bit. And I think this motion does it. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. I rise to speak in support of this as well. Congratulations to Commissioners Davis and Repenning for doing the right thing, being on this board for 14 months and seeing our challenges in our BIP. And it really struck a chord when at one of our meetings a person had commented about good faith, good fake. And I believe that we are all in alignment with our mayor's vision that a city should be prosperous for all Angelinos. So I look forward to working with you both and our colleagues and the rest of the city to learn from the proprietaries as you speak, to listen to industry, because anytime you're reflexive and can gather data from end users and find out the barriers to access and to understand the qualitative ways that we could do better, that we're going to do better for our city. We're going to create a new era of more inclusion, and so that numbers don't speak, but that the percentages really reflect what's going out there in the field. And so, colleagues, I can't say how much supportive I am and how much I look forward to working with you on this great project.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Rivas?
I just wanted to add that I'm excited, in my second week to hear that this committee is being started. I think, reaching out and increasing our numbers of women-owned and minority-owned businesses is very important. And I'm glad to be starting at a time when the board is doing something about it and reaching out to businesses and to others that we may be able to learn from. So I'm looking forward to participating and learning more about why our numbers aren't there and what we can do as a board to help.
I would also just mention that sometimes where we hit a frustrating hurdle along the way, you don't always expect them, and the city attorney's office can be helpful to us and has been in guiding the direction that we have to take here. And so it is something that I would just mention to our general counsel, Mr. Jordan, who's always been so supportive of everything that we do. These issues are and can be complicated. And so we look forward to having the city attorney's office at the table with us along the way. Anything further? Then I'll take that as a motion from our Vice President, Commissioner Repenning, and Commissioner Davis, our President Pro Tem. I think we probably all second it. That'll be the order. And we'll send it out forthwith. Thank you, everyone. And to the representatives from the various contracting entities that came in this morning in support of this motion, one, thank you for being here, and two, thank you for the record that you've created that in many ways is a standout very positively with your inclusion numbers. More specifically, as has been mentioned by both of my colleagues, CH2M Hill and the people that you work with. We appreciate it. Agenda item number 8. Recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of Ford EC Incorporated for subcontractor substitution of Man Metal Design Incorporated with George Jew Manufacturing Company, doing business as Paramount Metals and Supply Company, for structural steel and stairs steel railing work in connection with the South District Sewer Maintenance Yard project. On number 8, Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau Contract Administration, General Services Division. The Bureau received a request from Ford EC on August 30th, 2016, requesting that they substitute Man Metal Design, their OBE subcontractor for their metal work, with George Jew Manufacturing Company, an SBE MBE subcontractor. Accompanying their letter was a letter of withdrawal from Man, withdrawing from that portion of the work. The bid listed amount for Man's portion of the structural steel and stair work was $227,900. Paramount will complete Man's portion of work for this amount, so the substitution is at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
questions on agenda item number 8? Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion? By Commissioner Cinto. Any objection? With that objection, we will adopt agenda item number 8. Any issue sending number 8 forthwith? We can send number 8 forthwith. Mr. Smith, you're here on number 7 as well, recommending the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of JR Pipeline Company Incorporated for subcontractor substitution of Amigo Pat California with Environmental and Chemical Consultants Incorporated for mechanical sewer cleaning and debris removal and disposal work in connection with the Normandy Sewer Replacement Rehabilitation Project. Mr. Smith on number 7.
Yes, JR Pipeline submitted a request to the Bureau on September 13, 2016, requesting to substitute Amigo Pat California, an OBE subcontractor for sewer cleaning and debris removal, with Environmental and Chemical Consultants, an OBE subcontractor who would perform the same work. And JR is also going to perform some of the work with their own forces. The request was accompanied by a letter from Amigo withdrawing from that portion of the work. The bid listed amount for Amigo's portion of the mechanical sewer cleaning and debris removal was $342,475. The amount submitted by JR for environmental was $122,750, and JR's portion is $219,725. The total amount requested for the substitution is for $342,475, which will be at no additional cost to the city. And the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
All right, thank you for that explanation, Mr. Smith. Any questions on number 7? I don't have any questions on number 7. Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any issue sending number 7 forthwith? Okay, we'll send number 7 forthwith. Mr. Smith, I think it's your big day. You're here on number 6. Recommending the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis approving the request of Sinanian Development for subcontractor substitution of Triangle Enterprises with Howard Contracting for grading work in connection with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation bus maintenance and CNG fueling facility at 454 through 518 East Commercial Street in Los Angeles. Mr. Smith.
Sinanian Development sent a request to the Bureau on September 28, 2016 to substitute Triangle Enterprises, Inc., their OBE subcontractor for grading work, with Howard Contracting, Inc., also an OBE subcontractor. Their request was, included in their request was a letter of withdrawal from Bayside, withdrawing from that portion of the work. Bid listed amount for Triangle's portion of grading work was $586,200. However, the amount submitted for approval by Sinanian for Howard's portion of the work was $596,613, a difference of $10,413. Sinanian will decrease their participation by $10,413, so the work performed by Howard will be at no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions on number 6? Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion on number 6? That'll be Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we will adopt agenda item number 6. May as well stay consistent here. Number 5.
Can we consider number 6 forthwith? I may have missed that, but
What's that?
item number 6 forthwith?
Oh, okay. Any problem sending number 6 forthwith? Okay, we'll send
Thank
it
you.
forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 5, Bureaus of Sanitation and Office of Accounting, removal of uncollectible accounts receivable balances of equal to and more than $5,000 owed by various industrial waste users. Recommending that the board first forward the report to the Collections Board of Review and request that the Collections Board of Review, subject to approval by the City Council, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation and the Director of the Office of Accounting to administratively remove from their accounts receivables and other city records the delinquent industrial wastewater fee balances that are equal to or more than $5,000, older than 3 years in age, or filed for bankruptcy, and owed by industrial users with inactive industrial wastewater permits. As listed in the transmittal, the total cost for this report is $176,762.91. Also, following action by the Collections Board of Review, forward the report to the City Council for its approval of the Collections Board of Review's action and recommendation. Sonny Berberabi? Did I do okay on that, Sonny?
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to say it one more time. Berberabi?
Perfect.
Okay. I've got it now forever.
Thank
Go ahead.
you.
Mr. President, Commissioners, Bureau Executive, good morning. I'm here to request that the Board approve this request from Sanitation to forward this recommendation to the Collections Board of Review. These accounts has been referred to the collection agencies and to Office of Finance, and both collection agencies and Office of Finance has recommended that these accounts are uncollectible because for some of them there's out of statute, which is the 3-year statute of limitation, and some has filed for Chapter 11 and some has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So there's no way for the collection agencies to collect these fees.
And I'm assuming Hostess is still selling cupcakes and ding-dongs, right?
Yes,
but because they're in bankruptcy, we're too far down the list.
What happened, Commissioner, was in 2012, Hostess filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And in 2013, it was bought by a different company. So they bought the brand name, so that's why we still see Hostess, Ding Dongs, and Twinkies. We still see them because it was bought by another company in 2013. For this account...
they didn't buy the debt?
No. Normally, no one buys
that? Okay.
They only buy the whatever is collectible, not the... But for this account, when I was reviewing the account receivable, I saw that Hostess made a payment for this invoice. But after a few weeks, they had a stop payment of the check because per Chapter 11 bankruptcy, you cannot pay any accounts prior to the bankruptcy filing. So they did stop the check, so that's why this amount is in our accounts receivable. But the other invoices after the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, they made payment, but they didn't pay the delinquency fees. That's why if you look at the list, there's one invoice that is around $76,000, and the rest was like $1,800, $1,900, and $3,400.
So I would ask the following. The others I see, and I don't think it's, for me anyway, necessarily worth inquiry. But I would wonder, because of the continuing existence of the products on the shelves and money's being made, as we go forward in the process, would you have somebody in the chain of process check with the appropriate person in the city attorney's office that deals with working with the Office of Finance or whoever handles collections? I would like for them to just give a second look at if there is an opportunity for a collection in the process with, I realize that with the bankruptcy, our bill may be just unreachable. And I got it. If it's unreachable, we can't get there, and they can make that determination. But there may be a circumstance with the subsequent owner of the property that they do, of the asset, that they do have some responsibility for participation in the bankruptcy. Bankruptcy law is very complicated. I have some experience, but not much, so that's what makes you dangerous. But I think it's worth in our process getting a confirmation from the city attorney along the way that it's not worth another outreach to Hostess or their subsequent owner, in part because we're the city of Los Angeles, and it may be worth them, or maybe worth it to them, to expunge it by paying it rather than having us write it off as uncollectible.
We'll check with the city attorney.
That's a great question, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. One of the suggestions, not only referring it to the city attorneys is a viable one, but also I suggest to staff when you go to the Collections Board of Review to inquire whether the Office of Finance can consider this as part of their debt sale instrument. So there is a third market out there that focuses on and does a really good job at purchasing these types of instruments, and since it's bankruptcy, they're well familiar with the laws. Sometimes they can turn these into judgments if it's possible, and then that gives us an additional 10 years. So we may not be able to sell it for dollar on dollar, but perhaps maybe 10 cents on the dollar or even 12 cents on the dollar.
Will do. I'll inquire with the Office of Finance if they still have that option of selling delinquent accounts.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to resist a filling in the ding-dong comment. Demanding if they don't pay up, we're going to seek the recipe for the white filling inside of those ding-dongs, okay? And they're going to have a trade secret challenge. How's that?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Any further questions on agenda item number 5? I will make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5. Is there a second on number 5? Commissioner Rivas and Commissioner Davis, any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Sonny, thank you for the help on it.
Thank you.
And Mr. Campos, to you as well. Agenda item number 4. Let's see. Personal services contract, 3-year renewal option with West Coast Rendering Company. We have a bit of a revision to the agenda and the recommendations in the board report. So this will be as amended. Recommending that the board authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation to exercise the 3-year renewal option contained in Personal Services Contract C-119907 with D&D Service doing business as West Coast Rendering for deceased animal carcass processing and recovery services. And we're striking the second recommendation due to the fact that the contract is simply being extended and does not need an additional execution. Is that correct, Mr. Campos?
Yes, that is correct. That is a recommendation made to staff. Per article number 18 of the contract on page 37, the board does have the ultimate authority to consider the renewal options.
Okay, thank you. Nat Isaac?
Good morning, President, Commissioners, City Attorney, Executive Officer, and staff representatives. My name is Nat Isaac. I am the project manager for LA Sanitation's Dead Animal Collection Program for over the past 10 years. And on August 19th, 2011, this board authorized LA San to execute a contract with West Coast Rendering for the processing of dead animals collected from the city of Los Angeles. That contract term is for 5 years and expires this coming November 30th. It has in it a renewal option for an additional 3 years. As you know, that dead animal pickups are very important for the city of LA. All pickups are collected within 24 hours. They are delivered to this facility at West Coast Rendering, which is the only facility in Southern California that processes dead animals from streets, animal shelters, waterways, alleyways, etc. And we've been very happy with the services provided by West Coast Rendering for over the past 5 years. So my purpose today is to request your authority to renew the contract for an additional 3 years. Again, like I said, the vendor has been very reliable, and sanitation recommends the approval of this renewal option.
As far as I'm concerned, just hearing sanitation satisfaction with something this difficult is as far as I need to go regarding questions. Anything further, anyone? So we're just extending it. And
correct.
How long
Just an option for 3 years.
Again, 3 years. Okay, I just wanted to be clear on the record. Thank you. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4. Is there a second on number 4? Commissioner Repenning and Davis, any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending it forthwith? We will send it forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Agenda item number 3, Council Districts 8 and 9, Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration, a requested contract award for the secondary sewer renewal program, Vernon Avenue and Budlong Avenue, recommending that the board, and by the way, on number 4, Mr. Campos, that motion is as amended, as was the second and the vote.
Yes.
Okay. On number 3, Council Districts 8 and 9, secondary sewer renewal at Vernon Avenue and Budlong Avenue, recommending that the board declare M&R Construction Incorporated the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award them a contract for the project for $1,002,724, and authorize myself or two members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. Vivian Louis. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Vivian Louis, and I'm with the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. Staff recommends awarding this project S13, Vernon Avenue and Budlong Avenue, to M&R Construction Incorporated, first low bidder, the lowest responsible bidder, for the amount of $1,002,724. The city engineer's estimate is $1,012,166. The contract duration is 265 calendar days. This project will rehabilitate 1.9 miles of 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, 14-inch sewers in the South Los Angeles area and in Council Districts 8 and 9. On August 3rd, we received 4 bids. M&R was the lowest bid at less than 1% below the city engineer's estimate. M&R met all the requirements and outreach for the business inclusion program through Ellie Babin. The project was advertised with participation levels of MBE 4%, WBE 2%, OBE 0%, SBE 25%, EBE 8%, and DVBE 3%. M&R pledged MBE 2.26%, WBE 0%, SBE 2.71%, EBE 0.84%, DVBE 0%. M&R achieved the mandatory subcontracting minimums with 32.35%, and M&R is also a certified local business enterprise as well as a small business enterprise. So based on that, we recommend that the city awards this project to M&R Construction Incorporated.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Commissioner Rivas.
So M&R is an LBE, right?
Yes.
So they were the lowest bid even without, we
Yes.
didn't have to apply the 8%?
No.
Oh, okay. So they just came in as low.
Yes.
Yeah, they would have, because they're an LBE, they would have sustained an LBE
Yeah.
challenge in essence, which is interesting. Yeah. Anything further on this? I would just comment that given the our discussion today and the numbers that are pledged and the goals, we certainly have a list of invitees to the first few meetings on folks that we can work with. These are companies that bid with the city regularly. They're very familiar with the city's processes, and I know that we have a good working relationship with them. And I think that it's an opportunity for growth in the areas that we discussed earlier this morning. Anything further? I'll make a motion, along with Commissioner Cento, that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 2. It is easier to go 1 to 10, but we started with administrative items this morning. TOS number SN47, Notice of Award to Geosyntech Consultants Incorporated, recommending that the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to issue a notice of award to a consulting firm, Geosyntech Consultants, from the Bureau of Sanitation's on-call consultants list to provide technical and expert services for public right-of-way stormwater low-impact development. The term of engagement for the task order solicitation is 1 year, effective August 1, 2016. The cost of this task order is $610,000. Costa Caporis.
Good morning, Board President, the Board Commissioners, and Bureau representatives. This item will allow us to enter into contract with Geosyntec to further advance our efforts to develop stormwater law impact development requirements for any activities that happens on the public right-of-way, such as streets, alleys, and other public right-of-way areas. The amount of work is for $610,000, and DWP is partnering with us on this, and that will allow us to fund this effort. As part of this effort, we will develop a handbook and a guidance document to help us determine what requirements we will impose on different conditions and based on the board, based on the project size and scope, and will allow us to develop the language for a city ordinance to implement, again, stormwater LID requirements for public right-of-way. We already have similar provisions for private development projects or parcel-based development. So this just extends that effort.
I was going to mention the scope of services in the transmittal, but there's a nice summary of them in the actual board report, which isn't always the case. The transmittal always has it. It is helpful. I don't advocate wasting paper on it, but it is helpful, I think, for the public who wants to see the board report and necessarily doesn't get to the transmittals. That's done here. So I'm not calling anybody out. I just for anybody that's listening in the bureaus, I think it's helpful to sometimes add it to the board report, which is done here. Any questions? Commissioner Repenning, I'm sorry.
Sure. I just wanted to give a little background on this project. This is initially came out of council. As a city, we are on the hook for cleaning out our watershed and ensuring that our waterways, the water here in LA is clean. And we are very far from meeting state requirements as specified in the MS4 permit. We actually have required developers, we have a lid for private development to address stormwater in their design and construction of new property in the city. And we want to look at ways to put that same requirement on ourselves and on the utilities that do work in the public right-of-way. So this process is trying to figure out how to do that, given the funding challenges, given programmatic challenges. But it's really actually very important. We're going into rainy season, and every time it rains, I think it's something like 80% of the water that runs right through our paved city and into the ocean, and it brings with it a lot of pollutants. And so for us to be able to find ways to capture that water where it falls and keep it from polluting our watershed, but given the drought, to actually, where it makes sense, find ways to reuse it or to do groundwater recharge. So this is a huge opportunity for us. It's potentially going to lead to a very significant program. And so what this HOS is doing is actually putting in place a way to develop that program and figure out what the process is going to look like for establishing that. So I appreciate your work and the work of your colleagues at Sanitation on this, as well as Geosyntec. I know they've already started just a tiny bit, and they're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. So anything further? Commissioner Repenning, thank you for the background. I was just noticing, again, we're looking at our numbers on the MBE, WB, SBE, and such, and while these numbers aren't perfect, they're real. and they at least indicate movement in the right direction. Commissioner Davis?
Absolutely. And obviously, again, we would like to have, as much as possible, the opportunity for everyone to compete and to be included whenever the opportunity presents itself. So I agree with our president. This moves in the right direction, and we look forward to continuing to work and to growing to an area that really reaches our potential.
I would just, to echo Commissioner Repenning, I would just to agree with her a bit. I recognize, and I think it's important for people to recognize the real challenges that we have in meeting our state requirements. When you couple that with funding and just our duty to our residents, this is important work. So anything further on this? Commissioner Penning's made a motion on agenda item number 2. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue? Thank you, sir. Any issue saying number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Agenda item number 1, Bureau of Engineering, task order solicitation to Fugro Consultants Incorporated, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue task for solicitation number 12-005A to Fugro Consultants from the pre-qualified on-call consultants list to provide construction, observation, and testing services for the Los Angeles Department of Transportation downtown compressed natural gas fueling and bus maintenance facility project as stated in the task order solicitation with a budget authority of $247,659. Jose Beristain. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Morning. Happy Friday, everyone.
You too.
My name is Jose Beristain from the Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Group. I'm here today to request authority to issue a task order solicitation to our selected consultant, Fugro, from the pre-qualified on-call geotechnical environmental consultants list. Under the direction of our group, Fugro will be performing construction, inspection, and testing services with a budget authority of $247,659, which includes contingency. The LADOT downtown compressed natural gas fueling and bus maintenance facility project will construct a new 2-story maintenance and operations building, a 2-story bus parking structure, fueling and service buildings, and will act as a central hub for all of the downtown Dash buses. Extensive earthwork and environmental remediation will be necessary to remove undocumented fill and contaminated soil throughout most of the project site. Part of Fugro's task will include assisting the city with the handling and disposal of the contaminated fill, as well as observing and documenting the removal. This task order was sent to all 15 consultants on the pre-qualified on-call list. Proposals were submitted by 6 firms. The proposals were evaluated by 2 members of our group and were based on each consultant's capability and qualifications, the completeness of the proposal, the history of their contract budget and schedule compliance, and finally the value of their proposal. This task order is subject to the city's subcontractor outreach program requirements. The anticipated participation levels are 12% and 2% for MBE and WBE firms. For this task, Fugro is pledging participation levels of 12.8 and 2.3%. Historically, Fugro has met or exceeded their pledged percentages for non-exempt tasks and have added an MBE subcontractor to this task to assist with the contamination component of their duties. Thank you, and are there any questions at this time about the task?
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you. Jose, thank you for the report. Can you talk a little bit about, for the record, how this project, how this task will be funded?
It's my funding. I might have to defer that to Gary Lamb, the project manager.
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Gary Lamb from the Bureau of Engineering Architectural Division. The project will be funded from, this is actually a federal funded project using FTA monies.
Yeah, the scope of the project is, as indicated in the board report, it's a large project. You're talking about a $32 million project itself, that the CNG facility project. This is an aspect of it. Am I right about that? Just
That is correct.
not insignificant, but numerically small aspect of it. Yeah. Anything further? I don't have any questions on it. Which one made a motion? I'm sorry. Commissioner Jacinto, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk now?
This takes you back to item number 15, Mr. President.
Oh, we have an oral report. So let's go ahead and call that oral report. Agenda item number 15, our stormwater capture quarterly status report. Mr. Caparas, welcome back, sir. You didn't go far a moment ago.
Good morning again. This is the stormwater capture quarterly report that we give, and we will just provide the handout. It's just a little summary of some recent developments that we had. As probably all of you are aware, we're implementing a number of stormwater projects throughout the city, many of them geared towards stormwater capture and infiltration, or stormwater capture and use. We're blessed to have partnered with our partner agency, the Department of Water and Power, who is partially funding some of this project, along with the state through a number of grants. The projects I would like to highlight today is the Avalon Green Alley North, which we just completed last Saturday with the presence of Commissioner Repenning. We had our ribbon cutting ceremony, and this project has been very well received by the community, and it allows stormwater runoff to infiltrate into the ground. In addition to porous pavement, we have dry wells and rain gardens, and at the same time, it cleaned and beautified these two alleys near Avalon and 52nd Street. And we intend to monitor and observe it during rainstorms as a way to learn from it. The second project I would like to highlight is the University Park Rain Gardens, where we're installing 35 rain gardens near the USC area. And we just completed our design, and we will start implementation, construction next month. And if you turn on the back of the handout, we also completed our pilot study where we retrofit 6 residential parcels with stormwater capture. And part of the study was to examine and see how smarter systems, not a plain rain barrel, can be utilized, and they're designed to capture more stormwater runoff than our previous efforts from residential parcels. And we completed a study. We intend to do 1 year of additional observation and monitoring of those systems, and we will try to see to what extent we can do more efforts like that in the future. The next effort that I like to highlight is the 5 San Fernando Valley DWP-funded project. This we intend to move to the design phase very soon. And lastly, I listed 6 PRAPO projects that are in the implementation phase, from design to construction, just as a briefing, so we know where we are with them. Most notable, I think, is the Argo Drain, which is we're partnering with Lagua, and that effort is moving along, and we're approaching completion of the design. And the other project is the Rory Shaw Wetlands, project in Sun Valley area, where the actual design is done by the county, but upon completion, this park will be transferred to the city, and it will be a beautiful park in addition to be a stormwater capture and infiltration facility. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions regarding our oral report this morning? Any questions? Commissioner Repenning?
I would just say, if any of you have the chance and the time to check out the Avalon alleys that were not actually completed. There's a whole master plan. There's actually a lot more work that we'd like to do out there. But we completed the second alley. As Costa mentioned, we were out there on Saturday, and I hadn't been out there myself. I had heard about it through our Green Streets committee, but it is really cool. And it's basically, they're not really even alleys anymore. They're like community spaces. And so, you know, you've taken these alleys where people used to dump trash and other items, and it's been turned into this great asset. And you don't even know, I don't even think, you know, you don't necessarily know that it's a functional water capture system because it's all underground, but it's really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Thank you for the oral report, sir.
Thank you.
It will be received. Mr. Campos, we have now cleared the desk.
Yes, you have.
And we are adjourned with the exception of the management committee meeting, or the management meeting, I should say, old law firm term management committee meeting, management meeting in our conference room now.